Hello, this is Dr. Moyer, and I wanted to introduce you to the class and the syllabus so that you would have an expectation of what to do in the class and what is coming. If you have any questions, you can always email me, either through the D2L email or through my Panther mail. I answer Panther mail much quicker because I don't have to go through D2L. So I would actually prefer if that's where you could email me the fastest, and that you can see highlight it right here. That is my email address. So I'm Lisa Moyer. My office is in 2016 Clem Hall. My phone number is 581-8584. You can see my office hours here, and I actually can meet you at other times as well, so don't feel like those are the only times that I'm available. This class is going to look at low-income and minority group families, the problems, needs, and possible solutions. There is a prerequisite. You have had to have taken FCS 1800, or FCS, which is Lifespan Development, or FCS 2800, which is, I believe, Family Relationships. And you can't take them concurrently, meaning you can't be taking them now. You have to take them prior to the class. And the course objectives, we are going to identify and describe conditions and phenomena in our society that contribute to a significant portion of our population living in conditions that are deemed at poverty level, and many more living marginal lives. Identify and describe various groups of disadvantaged persons, families, values, needs, problems, and solutions. Describe and evaluate social services and public policies available to assist disadvantaged families. Research certain aspects about disadvantaged families, or people or individuals, and present that research in a well-organized and professional manner. Think critically about various aspects of oppression and develop strategies for helping individuals, families, and communities that experience oppression. So my teaching philosophy, I always like to put that up there. I am passionate about the classes that I teach. I love teaching. I love what I do. I want to be approachable to students, both in and out of the classroom. It's important to me that you feel like you can come to me and ask me questions, and that I am available to you. And I also use a problem-based learning model that encourages not only critical thinking skills, but also teaches students how to apply what we're learning in class. There are 2 textbooks, the Broussard and Joseph, Family Poverty in Diverse Contexts. Chapters from that book will be assigned. And then Abramsky, The American Way of Poverty, How the Other Half Still Lives. That whole book will be read, and you guys will be doing a book review on it. And then there's additional courses that I will post on D2L, and so those will be assigned as well. For exams, we'll have 2 exams. Each of them will be worth 50 points. The exams will cover everything that we do, and they are open book, open note. They're applied in nature. They will be administered via D2L, mostly multiple choice, true, false, but there will be some short essay as well. And as we get closer to the midterm, I will talk about that a little bit more. But if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Discussion posts, because this is an online class, we do use the discussion post. Students are to submit a response to a question prompt that I will add to the discussion every week. Sometimes instead of a discussion question, I'll have the students watch a video or even complete some type of online or assignment and then discuss. So students will check every week to see what's required and then post their discussion to that, read their peers' discussion, and comment as they would like. The book review, the students will read The American Way of Poverty, as I indicated earlier, and write a book review. There is also going to be a blog that's associated with this. I will set it up and give everybody the password. And at 3 points during the semester, you will be assigned reading from that book, and you'll go to the blog and post your opinion, reflection, and feedback about it. So that's part of the grade for the book review as well. And then the book review will be written exactly like a professional book review. We will cover that. Actually, let me just pull that up right now. So the book review, there's some questions that you'll consider. And a book review is a summary of the work, but it's from your point of view, your reaction. So it does give you the opportunity to indicate if you liked it or not. And you should include these stars and indicate how many of them should be dark and light. So obviously, if they were all blue, they'd be a 5-star book. The book review shouldn't be more than 1,000 words. It can be less, but it can't be more. And then it should also be written in APA format with a cover page, and grading will be written, grading will be based on writing, grammar, professional appropriate language, sentence structure, etc. So that's that assignment. And let's also go to the discussion guidelines. So discussion guidelines are going to be 12 posts throughout the whole semester. I want you to be able to post without concern for sentence structure, grammar, spelling, punctuation, etc. And that's because I want you to be able to post just what wants to flow out of you. So I'll give you a writing prompt in many cases, or some type of assignment or video, and then you guys will post your reaction, your feelings, your thoughts, whatever you want to post. So I've indicated they can be just about anything. The most important thing is honesty, and that you keep an open mind about your peers' posts. Remember that everybody comes from different backgrounds and have different perspectives, but everybody's perspective matters. And then treat others, of course, as you would want to be treated. And the discussion post is not a work log of tasks, like I read the writing prompt and here is my reaction to that. It should be, really about you. So let it just flow. I will post a prompt every week. They are due by Sundays midnight, and each submission is worth 10 points. In addition to posting in the discussion section, students will also be required to copy and paste what they posted into a Word document and submit it to the Dropbox. And that's how I will track and grade your discussion posts. I'm the only one that's going to see them besides the people in the class. I don't have a GA that does grading for me, so I just wanted to point that out. Okay, the family policy research assignment. Let's pull that up. This is the big assignment for the class. Most classes have a paper or some type of project, and this is our big project, and it's based upon research. So students there's actually 2 parts to this. There is the research, but there's also the policy. You will need to find at least 4 peer-reviewed research articles that describe an issue that's depicted in either a movie, a TV show, or a documentary. So let's say a movie is focused on poverty, then you would find research articles on poverty. And part of your paper will be describing the issue of the problem right here, and that's where you'll use the research part. First, you'll have a cover page, you'll describe the issue, you'll then describe the movie, film, or documentary that you picked out, and how it depicts the problem or issue that you described in part 4. Then a description of a federal policy that's related to the issue. So a federal family policy related to poverty could be temporary assistance for needy families. It could be a lot of things, but that's just an example. And then down here you see where I've given some examples, but you're not limited to those. That's just designed to help you think. And then the last part of your paper will be at least 2 recommendations to make the policy more effective. So once you describe the policy in 1 to 2 pages, you have to think about, what's missing or what would you do to make the policy stronger and more effective. And then, of course, there needs to be a reference list. So this assignment's due at the end of the semester. And it's on, you'll see I have a schedule here. So you'll see that up there. Anybody that's taking the course for graduate credit, you do need to email me by January 22nd to discuss an extra project that you will work on. I can send you project ideas and then we can communicate about what you're going to do. There will also be one extra credit chance in the semester. There'll be lots of different opportunities, but you can only participate in one to get 10 extra points. And then you'll note, here's all the assignments. Here's how everything's broken down. An A in my class is a 93 or higher. So you do have to, it always seems to confuse students at the end of the semester. They think if they get 90%, they've earned an A, but that's actually a B in this class. So 83 to 92 would be a B, and it's the same way all the way down. Policies and procedures. You know, the most important policy is that everything's submitted on D2L. So even if you have to turn in something late, make sure that you submit it to the Dropbox. If it's not in the Dropbox, it doesn't exist. Because that's what I just have too much grading to do to keep track of assignments that you might have emailed me because it was late or something. It has to be in the Dropbox. So I've said it once, I'll remind you, but you have to remember to put it in the Dropbox. Of course, I don't expect you to cheat. There's a link here to the student conduct code. Note that plagiarism is cheating. And if you need more information about what constitutes plagiarism, I've given you a link here that you can check out. You'll have to, especially since this is an online class, you'll have to check your D2L accounts regularly. You can have it linked up to your regular email or to the email that you check the most. And I encourage you to do that so you don't miss anything. If you have a disability that you need accommodations for, please let me know. I will need a copy of the paperwork, so you'll have to scan it in and get it to me. But we can talk about the nature of the accommodations. And then, of course, information about the Student Success Center, so you know what is available for help. Here's the schedule, as I indicated. Please note that it is tentative and it is subject to change. I have no idea why all these dots are here. It's going to bug me, and I'm going to get rid of them. Anyways, so this is our first week. I'm introducing you to the class and the syllabus, and I'm also going to talk about APA formatting and finding articles. And then you'll see next week you have a discussion post due. These are the reading assignments that go along with the PowerPoint or the lecture that I'll be posting. All of my lectures will be posted on YouTube, and I will provide the link to you. That's because I can't figure out how to upload them to D2L where they're so big. They take up so much space. YouTube's the only effective strategy I have discovered. You'll notice that the midterm is in March. We'll talk about that as it gets closer, but again, it is on D2L, and I will post it. You'll have time to decide when you want to work on it that week, so it's not posted at a particular time. And then you'll notice when, there's the first post on the class blog due right here. On February 8th, you have a reading assignment from the book that you're doing the book review on, and then you'll post on the class blog. And I'll give you information about how to access that later. Also, if there's a reading that's not on D2L, it'll have a little cross in front of it. If it's not in your textbook, it will be on D2L. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So that's the syllabus. And let me go to, that's my introduction to you guys, but let me find D2L. I guess classes are being held. Good thing your class is online, right? Okay, so just a few things I want to point out for you on here. You'll see that everything is organized under Content Browser. So if you click on Content, you're going to see the extra reading assignments I talked about. You'll also see some resources I've posted on APA, an example of a reference list, how it should look, and a list of policy websites. So when you have that policy assignment, here are places that you can go to look for information on the policy. I will also be posting my lectures here, as I indicated. All the assignments that we just talked about are listed here. And under discussions, I see we already do have some posts, but I've posted the writing prompt, what is poverty? How does poverty affect you personally? And so that, again, is due by January 24th, but you'll want to look at that and do that. When you go to take the midterm, it'll be under quizzes. I haven't created it yet, so it doesn't exist, but that's where it will be. And then the course home, when you have things coming up, they'll be posted over here, so you'll know when things are due. I hope that helps. The other thing that I wanted to do with you, oops, I didn't mean to close that, is to show you how to find research articles. And this is the way that I do it. This doesn't mean that you have to do it this exact same way, but it's one way to do it. You may want to jot down notes as I do this so you know what's happening and how to follow these steps. So I always, of course, go to the library first. The library is a great resource, and that's the one that I always use. You can get just about anything, although it may take a little bit of time if you have to order it from Interlibrary Loan, but that's fine. Once I get to the library's main page, I click on Research Guides. And then from here, I click on Databases. And I'm going to go to the letter P and scroll down and find Psych Info. And you can see it includes peer-reviewed content. It's going to ask for your ID to make sure you're an Eastern student that's paying for this service. And then you'll get a page that looks like this. I usually select all of them. It's just more than, it means I'm going to look in more than one database, which is good. When I get here, this is where I'm going to put in the keywords to do my research. But before I do that, I'm going to go down and make sure that I check peer-reviewed, peer-reviewed journal. And you see these are like limiters for psych articles. These were limiters for psych info, so you have to get on it and check them all. I want to exclude book reviews, exclude non-article content. I guess I don't click anything there. I do want periodical. It's nice to have full text, but I don't have to. You can click that if you want to, though. Journal articles is what I want. So I'm looking for all those limiters that can help me to avoid things that I don't want. I think that's it. And let's say I'm going to do research on homelessness. And I want to also do homelessness specifically among transgendered youth. What has come up, you see, is 28 articles. And at this point, you have to review them. So you may want to just go right to the article. Okay, this is it's part of child welfare. Talks about how big the problem is, which could be useful. This could be an article that I want to use if I want to talk about homelessness among transgender youth. And so this could be a good article. If you decide that an article is useful to you, it's a good idea to print it out. At the very least, what I would do is if you're not done, you're going to come back to it. I would click on this part and highlight the name of it, copy and paste it into a Word document so that you can come back and find that. I'd also copy and paste the authors as well. But you can also email to yourself this same information if you want to do that. You can save it. But don't assume, I'll remember, I'll be able to come back to that. That's a mistake that I have made many times and I never can find it. So that is how you find peer-reviewed research articles. And if you are wanting to create a reference list, easiest way to do that, and you'll want to look on the resources that I've given you. I know that I want to put it in Times New Roman font, and I'm going to set up, I know that APA requires a hanging indent. I'm going to set that up in advance so that I don't have to deal with that. I do not advise copying and pasting. This is where people make a lot of mistakes. They forget to change the text, and it's not formatted correctly when you copy and paste directly from the library. So you would have to list the author's name. If there's more than one author, you would list them alphabetically. Say they had the same last name. You'd list them alphabetically by... Well, I'm sorry. You'd list them in order as they're listed, not alphabetically. They're alphabetically when you're listing them this way. So... And I'm going to add an ampersand here. There's two authors. We'll say it was published in 2015. You add a period. Notice that I added the comma after, and I didn't write out the author's names. Let's say the title is Trans Youth and Homelessness. And I'm going to say that there's a hyphen here. We'll say it was in child welfare. The volume number was 45. The pages were 117 through 134. I am then going to highlight child welfare, the name of the journal, and the volume number, and I'm going to italicize that. And then you note that I did not capitalize every single word in the title, but I do for the journal name. Not for small words, of course, like of or and. And then I would go to the next one. Technically, this should be double-spaced. So I'm going to go ahead and make it double-spaced. And there shouldn't be any extra spaces between citations. So let's say the next author's last name is Brown. There's only one of them, published in 2014. The big cities. Journal of Child Development. Just making up page numbers. So here is the title of the article. Here is the journal name and the volume number. You don't have to include the issue number. And both of those are italicized. And then I have the inclusive page numbers. If you have a DOI, you can add that here. You don't want to capitalize the D for the DOI. and I'm just making up numbers, but you would add the DOI, you don't put a period after it. So that's how you make a reference list. In the middle is where you'd put the title, and it shouldn't be works cited, it should be references, and it should be bold. So I hope that helps, showing you how to find research and then how to put it in a reference format. Like I said, there are APA resources on D2L to help you. So I wanted to give you this lesson now so that you could start looking for research if you wanted to, if you're one of those go-getters that likes to do it early. Okay? And that's all I got.